the things that we're working on at DIR in Texas is an application portfolio manager. Several years ago, we went through and through legislation, they allowed us to take a look behind the scenes at all the different federated agencies and realize we've got thousands upon thousands of applications out there. Many of them are in a legacy status. And so now we're taking that next step and figuring out, okay, with all of those in legacy status, how do we prioritize those? How do we solve those problems in a smart way that makes sense, minimizing the cost, obviously, while providing the best productivity that we can. Yeah, you know, the one that I continue to come back around on is wireless technology. So certainly you have the smartphones and that interaction with the citizens and different state employees as they're doing their job makes that, you know, the obvious, but behind that, those applications have a lot of sensors and how those sensors are bringing the data forward and enabling then from there a lot of intelligence and analytics behind it. And then the other thing that wireless does, especially when you got rural areas like the state of Texas, you've got a lot of sites out there that are state entities that are running on bonded T1s. All these solutions that we come up with to solve problems and to make the agencies more efficient end up running over a transport network that really can't support it. And so through LTE, we're working to bring that bandwidth out to the rural areas. Of course, that's a big challenge for the nation in rural broadband, but certainly leveraging it as those areas increase and we can provide that capacity. That is going to change how we do business. Like so many, we work with Federal on FirstNet and all the efforts there, and the Department of Public Safety for Texas is leading that. We have MSISAC as a key partner in the cybersecurity effort. DIR and how we're positioned with the state is we provide services to the agencies, and that's our primary, but certainly we leverage those services with the locals. Stu Davis here at the conference was talking about body cameras and the amount of data that is going to bring in. Well, we're looking for what that solution can be for the state and support all those different entities from a state business. But you know, then you look at the municipalities, the locals, the cities, all of them will have the same issue. Well, whatever we do certainly would seem as an opportunity to support them. And so any of those types of solutions that we come up with, one of my challenges is not just look at them as an immediate solution, but how do we expand upon those? How do we make those shared solutions for more than just perhaps that one big one that we started with? There's a lot of issues in amount of storage and how we do that. There are certainly challenges in infrastructure and software and hardware that we have around that. But you know, it's interesting, a challenge that I see a lot is how do you integrate IT solutions in business problems, right? And we do that seemingly almost natural now. It used to be that there was a business issue and they would work to resolve it through process and people and technologies came around. Well, now it seems like every solution leads with technology, and then how do the people in the process circle around that? A bigger challenge beyond that then is when infrastructure budgets are set up and people are looking at, well, why do we spend so much money on IT? What is the cost of IT? A lot of those measurements are looked upon as a efficiency effort, not necessarily as a problem-solving effort. And so it's hard then to get your matrix and be able to justify. Cybersecurity is a perfect example. You know, it's how if you spend X amount of money, it minimizes the risk of a threat. If you do that, that's great, but you can't really justify that we certainly solved, you know, 1,000 threats or that there was a DDoS attack that didn't happen because of it. It's very difficult to measure. So that's a challenge that I see with all the changes in data and business. It's just, it's the way the world is changing. Certainly shared services, the more that you can bring in volume, it tends that the price goes down per unit, and we take advantage of that. Another area that we're looking at is how do we set up smart business? I mentioned the portfolio manager before. when you're solving a problem, how do we solve that in a priority that makes sense, that there's a logic to it? It seems to be so many times we're reactive in the efforts that we do, solving, the firefighting kind of mode, but taking a step back in a world of technology and looking at roadmaps and realizing, well, by solving these issues, that enables better solutions later. And so trying to leverage that. Something else, and it's kind of a new trend in technology that I see from government, is instead of spending large amounts of money on a project that is believed to be the solution, take a scale of that and do a pilot. We're looking at a pilot for all kinds of reporting and business analytics. That's an enormous effort, especially when you look at the size of Texas, but if we can identify how to do that in a small scale, learn from that, take that knowledge and then deploy it in either scale that solution or put out a brand new RFO, knowing all that you need to know in our particulars, it can make it a lot better successful project than just putting a lot of money out there and hoping that it comes out at the end after years and years of effort. So that's one of the things we're looking at. So a couple of the trends are, for us, we try and use pilots, try and develop a solution that works, bring a lot of customer input in, making sure that it meets our customers' needs, understanding what our criteria are and where those boundaries are, and then providing a scalable solution around it. Other areas is certainly looking for involvement in customer solutions. Where have the agencies already provided a solution? And it doesn't have to be all about DIR as a central focus. If there's solutions that the agencies have, how can we work with them, either mirror it or build upon it, and leverage that knowledge? It is certainly a challenge for a lot of government entities and a lot of the workforce across the board. One of the things that we're working on is adapting hiring around attitude, and it was brought up, and it was a great point that was in the presentation this morning, was hire based upon results, not necessarily around traditional workflow measurements. Hire people that have a can-do attitude, and it's something that we look for at DIR. Don't let a situation sit and rest. Overcome any hurdles and challenges with it. And one of the things that we have to do is realize teleworking and the integration between personal life and work life is becoming blurred. People can work while they're on personal time, and they can have personal time while they're on work, and it's a change in mindset that we're going to have to adapt toward. Telework is a step toward that. And we're taking a lot of initiative around how to ensure that those tools enable it. Because without the tools, you can have the right individuals with the right mindset, and it just won't be successful.